My next guest is an undefeated lightweight contender from Poland, and on December 8th, he'll be fighting John Mitchell in the PFL Europe Lightweight Championship. Kuba Kaszuba joins me right now. Kuba, welcome and congratulations.
Thank you for having me. It's always an honor.
It's always a pleasure to have you. And I just wanted to briefly hit on, here we are, 2023. This is going to be your third fight of the year. In the PFL format, that's a gauntlet. That's like, I don't think there's enough credit that you guys get for that mental and physical gauntlet that you've been running through. So I wanted to just check in with you. How are you feeling mentally and physically ahead of this championship fight?
I'm, I'm excited. It's my last one, right? But I feel good. Oh no, it's nice having, knowing that you have a fight, lined up right after the other. And there's a point in preparing for it. You don't get this weird in-between status, it's like, okay, well, I'm training, but am I getting ready for something? Is there a date? So there's a clear reason why I'm starving myself or training or feeling like shit. But yeah, I like this PFL format. I really do, because especially in the higher level, I feel like some of the fighters, they don't fight that often, right? They do one fight or 1.5 fights a year, something like this. And it's like, here you can't really you can't be a weight bully, which is nice. You got to be like a true unless only for the first fight you can, because my first fight was in July, so in January I was like 195 pounds. But now I'm walking around no more than 180, and then I cut, and then now I'm 175, and that's why I'm sticking around, which is nice. I like this.
I'm glad we brought up the weight cut, because you're a big guy. Like, you're big, you're very muscular, and multiple weight cuts in a short, compressed amount of time. I can't imagine like how difficult that is for you to even stay around like in the 70s. Like, that's got to be pretty difficult to do.
It's difficult mentally. Physically, I feel good because I'm just eating. I have to eat healthier, but sometimes I just want to sit down and just have a whole piece of cake, and I can't. Like, no, I mean, not a piece of cake, a whole cake actually.
Or some beers, right?
Not. See, I rather have a hamburger and a cake and banana, and like a banana ice cream fudge, something crazy like that, than beer. But it'll be nice to drink a little bit of alcohol after this last one.
Well, hey, you've absolutely earned it. And PFL Europe, I did have kind of a question behind the scenes. You fought in Germany and France, and now you're going to be fighting in Ireland. What is that experience like behind the scenes? From the PFL fighters that I've spoken with, everyone seems to like really like just kind of like how it's laid out, and they've said nothing but really positive things. Was there anything that kind of stood out to you in any of your prior bouts with PFL Europe behind the scenes?
I mean, they're a new organization, but they really seem to be well organized and having everything, put well together. Yeah, there isn't really too many any errors or any problems that I've had. Yeah, I mean, I really like it. I really like their media team. Their media team is fucking dope. I think I already told you, like, they're nonstop working the hotel lobby. If it was Berlin or Paris, they're just sitting there fucking pumping out some good media. So that's pretty sweet.
Have you ever had an opportunity to like meet up with somebody? Did you see anyone in any of your prior PFL Europe fights that you're like, oh wow, I used to watch this guy fight all the time, and he's like walking past you in the hotel lobby?
Oh, I saw Impa. I actually watched him in Orlando when PFL invited me out just to go watch the fights in Orlando Universal, and I watched him fight. So it was cool seeing him in Paris. Like, oh, dude, I'm a big fan. Hey. But other than that, I haven't seen anyone. I met Randy Couture. That was pretty sweet. I mean, me and my dad used to watch the old UFCs, and we used to watch Randy Couture all the time. So that was pretty sweet when I met him in PFL Orlando. Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
I would also say Dan Hardy definitely qualifies. He's probably my favorite English fighter of all time.
Yeah, that's right.
Have you had any like real cool dialogue with Dan Hardy? Because like he's like one of the coolest guys in MMA.
I just like talking to him. I really do. He's a chill dude. Yeah, no, he's cool. I mean, I totally forgot about him. I don't know. I guess I talk to him so much that it's like any normal interaction,
Sure.
At first, I was like, oh my god, it's Dan Hardy, but now it's like, it's Dan Hardy.
It's Dan Hardy.
My buddy.
Completely get it. Let's pick up on this Dylan Tuke fight. You went up, like your path to getting here, I felt like you have had like one of the most difficult, one of the most challenging paths to get into this position that you're in now. When you reflect on the two fights that you've had, the one in France and then the one in Germany. Is there one that like stands out in your mind? Like which one was like more difficult for you?
Oh, definitely Tuke. Tuke was not an orthodox opponent at all, with his movement and just his whole style. And they had a really good game plan, and he came out strong. And probably even lost that first round, which I've never really lost a round, and I couldn't really do what I wanted with him for the first time in my career, which was a cool feeling, you know. At first, I panicked a little bit, but then I was like, whatever, just keep doing to what you do. And it was literally what I told you in the interview. I knew he wouldn't be able to adapt after that first round, and he didn't. And second and third round were very clearly mine. But yeah, Tuke was a very, very game A opponent, and his record does not do him justice, I think. And I think he's only going to get better. So, yeah, he's actually going to be fighting in Dublin as well. So I wish him luck. And, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, one of the things I kind of wanted to ask you about the Dylan Tuke fight is I wanted to like zero in, like what adjustments specifically did you have to make during the 15 minutes with Tuke?
Well, I couldn't take him down at all. It wasn't until the end of the second round. He was tired and had him up against the cage, but my long shots, they weren't. He was good and long, and he was good at sprawling and moving, so I couldn't time it really well. And one shot I had like lightning. I was like, I don't know how the hell he dodged it, but he's also left-footed, so it was. I mean, right foot forward, so that was also a bit awkward. But pretty much I just had to stay patient, and he wanted to do a lot of clinching because he wanted to throw me, but he couldn't. So I was just throwing a shit ton of knees and body punches, and that wore him out because in the second round he gassed, and then third round he was non-existent essentially. Still couldn't finish him. I mean, I hit him with like crazy right hand and knee at the end of the third round and got on top of him, and I still couldn't finish him.
And for me, that I was mildly surprised at that. I looked at it, I was keeping tabs on all the fights that were going on that night. And this fight went the distance, and I was just like, oh, wow, that's a little surprising to me. I wasn't anticipating that. When I think of you, I think of grappling, I think of wrestling, and I was on Tapology. I was like, I'm going to go with submission. I just figured you were going to be able to find that. And at any point when you go back and you watch that full 15 minutes, we didn't get the finish that you wanted, but do you see some positives that from that performance that you really liked?
Yeah, I'm happy I stood with him a lot, and I just outlanded him. That was the most strikes I probably threw in any fight. And I mean, I think the score of punches was like 80-10, something like that. So I was just happy with the result that, I was throwing punches, I was standing and I was moving, and I kept the pressure up. And eventually, I got 2 takedowns, one in the second round, and then both rounds ended with me on top of him, which was good. But his jiu-jitsu was great, so I couldn't finish him. But I don't know. I was patient. I was happy that I was patient. I didn't panic, and I fought well. What can I say? I won.
Well, now we're back stateside. You know who you're going to be fighting next. Ireland's
Yeah.
John Mitchell, 8-1 guy, very talented, very impressive fighter. And when you look at this guy, what is it that you see about him that makes him a formidable opponent, in your opinion?
Just his wrestling, I guess. I didn't see anything else but his wrestling. So it's gonna be another dirty fight because he's gonna grapple and wrestle. So there's gonna be a lot of clinching and a lot of what would you call it, scrambles probably. But in the end, whoever is stronger will win because I won't know how strong he is until that first minute. When we touch each other. But he fought that same Frenchman twice, right? Because Chizov didn't make weight for the second fight. So
yes, correct.
So I really don't know how good he is because that French guy was not good, respectfully.
Sure.
And Chizov was all right. I mean, when I saw him fight Duke, he couldn't handle the wrestling, but his striking was good. So I just wondered. And Duke was so much bigger than him, so I was just wondering how, like, an actual, if he made weight, how he would verse against a guy like John. But yeah, John is gonna be a wrestler, so it's gonna be 5-round grueling war most likely. Whoever's got better conditioning and wrestling will win.
I will say this. I'm saying this very objectively. I looked at Mitchell. I've looked at everyone that he's fought, and I can say very authoritatively, you are the most difficult person he has ever fought. This is his most difficult fight of his career, this one against you. How do you feel he stacks up against some of your other prior opponents?
He's probably the best wrestler, most likely, that I fought, because I think he was like a national wrestling champion in Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a country of 6 million people. I was second in state in Florida, and we got like 21 million people. So But yeah, he's probably gonna be the best wrestler. But yeah, overall as an opponent, when I look at his record and the things he's done, he's probably got the best record out of all my opponents. But yeah, for me, just another fight. Just a matter of it's gonna be a 5 rounder. So you you got to control your pace, right? And you just got to be patient. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. I'm not really scared of him or worry about him. Just gonna go out there and do my work. And it's scary for him because he's fighting me in his hometown or his home country, so pressure's on him.
Your clinch work and your striking, do you feel like you have an advantage over him in those areas of MMA?
Yeah, definitely dirty boxing. Clinch. I mean, clinch. I feel like I have more experience just because I had 10 fights, and I was looking at some statistics already. I just have way more time in the cage. So yeah, and with Duke now, it was all clinch, and it was tough clinch work because Duke was so long. Um, so I don't know I don't know how John Mitchell just goes for that takedown, right? And sometimes he even does it off his knees. So he really wants you to come in, and he just changes the levels. But like other than that, I didn't see any impressive things against the Frenchman with the wrestling. Nothing, it was just a simple double leg when the guy
Sure.
would just lazily throw punches. But not underestimate him. He's gonna be probably my toughest fight this tournament. Or maybe not. A lot of people are telling me Dylan was, and no one. People are telling me I'm gonna roll through John, but I really don't know. I won't know to that first round, first minute, until how strong he is and what he knows wrestling wise, right? Because his striking, I didn't see anything there. He didn't fight Chisov because it'd be nice to have him a little bit more beat up for this third fight.
Well, it was bizarre because, like you said, his the guy he was supposed to fight missed, and through a product of circumstances, and then with the PFL rules or whatnot,
Yeah.
he ended up getting the opponent that he did. And but here we are. It is what it is. There really isn't anything that you had any control over.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, you're fighting him in his backyard. I mean, do you have to approach this fight maybe a little bit differently when you consider just the totality of the circumstances? An Irish guy fighting in Ireland in a championship fight. Sometimes people say I'm too much of a conspiracy theorist and I look way too much
Oh
into that
no,
sort of thing. But am I
dude.
right? Like, am I right in thinking
I'm
thinking
Polish.
that way?
We have so many. We're so conspiracy theorists, and we're always like very suspicious of everything. So
Okay.
trust me. Yeah, I mean, if it's a close fight and I barely won, he's gonna win the decision because we're in Ireland and
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be the Irish Athletic Commission and it's the main event. So yeah, it
That's how
is
I
what it
see it.
is.
I mean, that's how I see it. So for you, it's like, okay, like, do you have to like go into this fight thinking to yourself, like, I have to finish this guy, I have to strangle him, I have to punch
I
him, or
mean,
does it not make
I'm not
or
putting that pressure on myself because that's how you make mistakes. I'm just gonna do my fight and yeah, we'll see how the later rounds, how much he opens up, what mistakes he makes, and I'm just gonna jump on him if they're there. But yeah, if it's the fourth and fifth round and it's a close fight, I'm gonna have to really, pump up the pace and really make it clear who's in charge.
I think you've kind of laid it out for everyone in terms of like what they can expect. A lot of aggression, be a dirty fight, and hey, may the best man win. You win this fight, you become the very first PFL Europe lightweight champion.
Pretty
That
cool.
that would mean a lot, not only to you but also everyone in Poland. And do you
Yeah.
ever like stop to think about like here you are, 10 fights into this professional MMA career, you're competing on this stage, like this was a journey to get to this point, and I was wondering, like, are you going to allow yourself to like stop and smell the roses maybe a little bit after this one?
Well, I'm definitely gonna enjoy my December and January. Just don't do such volume training wise and being in such good shape, focusing more on technique and a lot of off season stuff. More swimming. Want to start doing a lot of the Russian rope workouts. Less weights. Yeah, I'm definitely excited for this off season. I really am. But otherwise, like I don't feel like PFL is fighting for PFL doesn't feel different than fighting for Combat Night or anything else. I am grateful for the opportunity, but like as a fighter, it's like it's just another day in the office, right? It's the same for me. This is the third time I'm traveling across to Europe, so it's like I got my whole system down now. I'm not even that stressed anymore about it. I know what I need. I know how overall it's gonna look. So, and it's nice because everyone speaks English in Ireland, so it's gonna be easier to buy groceries than in Paris.
I will definitely take your word for it. And I did kind of wanted to pick your brain a little bit. 2024 PFL regular season, you win this, you'll be included in the 2024 PFL regular season. That's a really exciting division. I expect there to be some movement. Olivier Aubin-Mercier, I don't think he'll be around. I think he's going to retire.
Oh, really? You think so?
Yeah, he's already kind of talked about this kind of being it for him. And that would create a very big ripple effect, I feel, in terms of the PFL lightweight division. You look at it, I expect Collard to be back. I expect Burgos to be back. But I just kind of wanted to get your general opinion when you look at the 55ers for the PFL regular season. How excited are you to just compete against some of these guys?
If Oliver ain't there, I'm winning that $1 million.
He's not going to be there. He's going to retire. All reports indicate that he's going to retire after he fights Clay Collard.
Yeah, so I think also Espinoza will be in it. He's like a local Floridian too, and he's good. So I just see myself and Espinoza being in the two Floridians, being in the final. Honestly, that's what I see. But God willing, right?
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate your time today, Kuba, and I wanted to give you the opportunity. If there's anyone out there that you'd like to thank before I let you go, sir, let's do it.
Well, I want to thank my gym and my two gyms, Elevate and Gracie Bar Jacksonville. I want to thank my sponsor, Caveman, for letting me wear the JSO Jacksonville Duval Sheriff's logo with his friend's ID number on it. I want to thank my coaches, Roberto Quartero, Preston Parsons, and Gene Bautista, and my father. My father's always in my corner, if you didn't know.
I didn't know that. That's very cool.
He speaks Polish. He's the wind talker, right? Like with code.
So he's yelling at you in Polish during your fight.
Yeah, they're whispering to him to say in English, and then he yells in Polish, and then I listen.
That's very that's advantageous.
Yeah, very advantageous. Polish
I like
hard
it.
too.
I imagine.
And I just want to shout out to my hometown, Olsztyn, Poland, and shout out to Jacksonville, where I live right now. I love you guys. So thank you for the opportunity and the interview.
Well, I look forward to having you back for the 2024 PFL regular season, sir. Thank you, Kuba, and I look forward to doing this again soon.